When he reaches out after silence, most people make the same mistake. They rush. They rush to reply, to reconnect, to grab hold of the attention they've been craving. But here's the truth. The first 5 seconds after his message appear on your phone decide who holds the power, him or you. Let's get this clear. His return is not a gift. It's not a reward. It's not proof that he finally understands your worth. It's just a signal. But how you respond to that signal determines whether you reclaim your power or hand it right back. So let's start with the first rule. Don't rush to reply. Power is in pause. That pause isn't about playing games. It's about showing yourself you're not ruled by his timing. It's the space where you remind yourself, my life is bigger than one text. My value is bigger than one comeback. That pause is strength, because while he's waiting for your reaction, you're showing yourself you don't move on anyone else's clock. Second rule, clarity over curiosity. Most people waste energy asking, why did he disappear? Why is he back now? What does this mean? That's curiosity. And curiosity keeps you trapped in his story. But clarity asks a better question. Does this serve me now? Does this align with my standards? Does this version of him deserve access to me again? See the difference. Curiosity hunts for excuses. Clarity demands standards. Curiosity wants his reasons. Clarity only cares about results. And if the result is inconsistency, silence, or disrespect, then you already have your answer. No more searching required. Third rule, your worth isn't proven by his comeback. So many people treat his return like validation. They think, if he came back, it must mean I was enough all along. No, your worth was never on trial. His silence didn't lower your value, and his message doesn't raise it. If you let his behavior dictate your worth, you'll forever be a puppet to someone else's attention span. Your worth is constant. Whether he sees it or not, whether he acts on it or not, whether he stays or goes, you are still the same valuable person. His return doesn't prove anything about you. It only reveals where he is in his journey, and that has nothing to do with your standard. And that leads us to the fourth rule. Respond with boundaries, not emotion. If you decide to reply, keep it intentional, keep it short, keep it powerful. Don't send paragraphs fueled by anger, hope, or confusion. Don't give explanations. Don't beg for reasons. Don't reward silence with intimacy. Respond from boundaries, not from feelings. And sometimes, the strongest boundary is no response at all. Silence is not weakness. It's the clearest statement you can make. It says, I am no longer available to what doesn't respect me. Now, understand this. Boundaries don't push the right people away. They filter the wrong people out. Anyone who's serious about you will respect your boundary. Anyone who's just curious will fade when you enforce it. And that's not a loss, it's freedom. So let me leave you with this truth. When he reaches out after silence, don't make it about him. Make it about you. Make it about the life you've been building while he was gone. Make it about the confidence you've grown, the peace you've found, the standards you've decided to never lower again. Because the real victory isn't in his comeback. It's in how you carry yourself when he does. Will you rush or will you pause? Will you chase his story or will you stand in clarity? Will you tie your worth to his attention or will you hold your worth regardless? Will you react emotionally or will you respond with boundaries? The choice is always yours, and the way you choose will define whether you repeat the past or create a new standard for your future. So remember this, don't rush to reply, clarity over curiosity, worth over attention, boundaries over emotion. That's how you win your power back. That's how you stop being someone's option and start living as someone's only choice. That's the difference between someone who gets pulled into games and someone who sets the rules. When he finally reaches out after silence, after disappearing, after leaving you hanging, you're tested. That moment is not about him. It's about you. The first instinct is always emotional. You feel relief, excitement, anger, maybe even a spark of hope. And those emotions push you to act fast, to type back quickly, to prove you're still here. But understand this, rushing is not strength. It's surrender. The moment you rush to reply, you tell him, your timing controls me. Your silence did not matter. You can vanish and I'll still be waiting. That is not the message you want to send. Strength is in the pause. The pause is where you take back control. The pause is where you breathe. Remind yourself of your value and decide, do I even want to reply? Does this person deserve my energy again? You see, the pause isn't about playing games. It's not about pretending to be busy. It's about genuinely being grounded in your life. It's about showing yourself, not him, that your world doesn't revolve around someone else's message. Because here's the truth. Anyone can send a text. Anyone can come back after silence. That doesn't mean they've changed. That doesn't mean they respect you. And it certainly doesn't mean they deserve you. The pause gives you time to see clearly. When you rush, you act on curiosity. Why did he come back? Does he miss me? Does he regret leaving? Those questions trap you in his story. But when you pause, you shift into clarity. What do I want? Does this align with my standard? Am I willing to let someone back in without proof of change? Curiosity looks outward. Clarity looks inward. And clarity is where your strength lives. Now, let's talk about what happens inside that pause. First, you detach from emotion. Emotions are powerful, but they're not stable. They rise, they fall, they cloud your judgment. The pause allows you to feel without acting, to let the wave of excitement or anger pass so your response comes from strength, not weakness. Second, you remind yourself of your worth. His message doesn't add value to you. His silence didn't take it away. Your worth was, is, and always will be constant. If you believe his return validates you, you're already trapped. But if you remember you were valuable all along, then his text is just that, a text, nothing more. Third, you choose your boundary. The pause gives you time to decide, do I even want to reply? If I do, what standard do I need to communicate? If I don't, am I willing to let silence speak for me? And here's the most important part. Sometimes the strongest response is no response. Silence, when it's a choice, is a boundary. It says, you had access once, but not anymore. You don't get to walk in and out of my life as you please. But if you do decide to respond, keep it measured, keep it short, keep it aligned with your standard. You don't need to explain where you've been or what you felt. You don't need to reward his absence with intimacy. A single clear sentence is stronger than 10 paragraphs of emotion. Because here's what matters. Your response should never be about his feelings. It should be about your boundaries. Will you allow inconsistency? Will you allow silence followed by casual return? Will you allow someone to come back without accountability? Your answer to those questions should shape your response, not your emotions in the heat of the moment. Let me tell you this. People respect what you respect. If you respect your time, they'll value it. If you respect your peace, they'll think twice before disturbing it. If you respect your standard, they'll either rise to meet it or they'll leave. Either way, you win. So when that message lights up your phone, remember, your power isn't in the reply, it's in the pause. The pause proves you are not waiting. The pause proves you are not desperate. The pause proves you choose clarity over curiosity, standards over explanations, boundaries over emotions. And once you master the pause, you'll never again feel small because someone disappeared. You'll never again feel desperate because someone came back. You'll never again confuse a text for proof of love because love isn't measured in comebacks, it's measured in consistency. So here's your rule, don't rush. Don't hand over your power. Don't treat his return like a prize. Pause, think, stand tall. Respond only from strength or not at all. That's how you show him, and more importantly yourself, that your life is not waiting for anyone. Don't rush to reply. Power is in pause. That's not just advice. That's the foundation of your self-respect. That one shift in your mindset can save you from endless heartbreak, wasted time, and emotional chaos. Because in relationships, curiosity is often what keeps people stuck. When someone pulls away, disappears, or comes back after silence, the instinct is to get curious. Why did he vanish? Why is he back now? What does this mean? But here's the truth. Curiosity doesn't give you peace, it gives you confusion. Curiosity has you replaying conversations in your head, scrolling through old texts, reading between lines that were never written. It's restless, it's exhausting, and worst of all, it keeps the focus on him, his behavior, his excuses, his timing, when all the power is supposed to be with you. Clarity is different. Clarity asks better questions. Instead of why did he do this? Clarity asks, what do I want? What do I deserve? Does this serve my future? That's the shift. Curiosity pulls you backward into his story. Clarity pulls you forward into your standard. Let's take an example. He disappears for weeks, then suddenly texts, "Hey, how have you been?" Curiosity jumps in and whispers, why did he stop talking? Was he busy? Was he scared? Did he meet someone else? Does this mean he's changed? And before you know it, you're already writing a script for him. But clarity shuts that down. Clarity says, if he vanished once without explanation, that's all I need to know. His reasons don't matter. His actions already spoke. See how powerful that is? You don't need a detective's report. You don't need to drag answers out of someone. The behavior itself is the answer. Here's the thing. People reveal themselves through patterns, not explanations. Curiosity hunts for explanations. Clarity watches patterns, and patterns never lie. When you choose clarity over curiosity, you stop waiting for closure. You stop chasing after why. You stop bargaining with yourself, hoping his excuse is good enough. Instead, you say, if it doesn't align with my standard, I'm done. Period. And that decision, that clarity, is what gives you peace, because peace doesn't come from knowing every detail of his story. Peace comes from knowing your standard, holding your boundary, and trusting that nothing unclear deserves a place in your life. Now, some people will say, but don't I deserve answers? And yes, you deserve honesty. But honesty doesn't mean you'll always get it. And you don't need his words to validate what his actions already told you. That's where clarity beats curiosity every single time. Let me make this clear. Your healing doesn't depend on his explanation. It depends on your decision. Curiosity waits for him to give you closure. Clarity gives closure to yourself. Curiosity asks, what if he changes? Clarity says, until he proves it, he hasn't. Curiosity asks, what if he regrets leaving? Clarity says, regret isn't love. Consistency is. Curiosity asks, what if I lose him forever? Clarity says, if I lose someone who couldn't respect me, I haven't lost anything at all. That's power. That's freedom. So how do you actually apply clarity over curiosity in your life? Step 1, notice the urge. The moment you catch yourself asking, why did he stop? Recognize that you're in the trap of curiosity. Step 2, flip the question. Instead of asking about him, ask about you. What do I need? What do I deserve? What do my standards say? Step 3, decide from the pattern, not the promise. Don't get pulled in by words, excuses, or apologies. Look at the behavior. Look at the consistency. That's where the truth lives. Step 4, protect your peace. Curiosity will keep you spinning. Clarity will set you free. And freedom feels better than any explanation ever could. Here's the ultimate truth. You don't need to understand his silence. You only need to understand your worth. So the next time you're tempted to ask why, catch yourself. Stop chasing explanations that don't matter. Stop drowning in curiosity. Instead, anchor yourself in clarity. Clarity says, I won't waste my life chasing people who can't choose me. I won't shrink my standards for someone who won't rise to meet them. I won't confuse attention with love. And once you live this way, you'll notice something. The noise disappears, the overthinking stops, your peace returns, and you'll never again be hooked by someone's inconsistency, because you'll know your standard is not confusion, your standard is clarity. So live by this rule. Write it down. Repeat it to yourself until it becomes instinct. Clarity over curiosity. That's how you stop chasing, stop waiting, and start living in the strength of knowing exactly what you deserve. That line alone can save you years of heartbreak. Too many people make the mistake of believing that when someone who disappeared comes back, it's proof they were valuable all along. But here's the truth. Your worth was never missing. His return doesn't prove it, and his silence never erased it. When he comes back after disappearing, your ego wants to celebrate. He must have missed me. He must regret losing me. I must have mattered more than I thought. That's curiosity speaking. That's validation seeking speaking. But your true worth has nothing to do with his behavior. Think about it. If someone leaves a diamond lying in the dirt, does the diamond lose value? No, it remains a diamond. Its worth is in its nature, not in whether someone recognizes it. The same is true for you. Whether he stays, leaves, or crawls back, you are still the same valuable, irreplaceable person you always were. Here's the danger of believing your worth is tied to his comeback. You give him all the power. You make him the judge of your value. And every time he disappears or returns, your self-esteem rises or falls like a roller coaster. That's no way to live. That's how you become trapped in cycles of pain. Real strength is remembering this. Your value is constant. His choices only reveal who he is, not who you are. Let's look deeper. When someone disappears, it says something about their ability to commit, to respect, to communicate. When someone returns, it says something about their loneliness, their regret, their timing. None of it is about your worth. It's about their character. But too often people flip the story and make it about themselves. He leaves. Maybe I wasn't enough. He comes back. Now I must be enough again. No, you were always enough. His actions simply revealed whether he could recognize it. That's why the comeback is not proof of value. Sometimes it's proof of nothing more than convenience. He's bored, he's lonely, he's looking for comfort. None of that validates you. None of that defines you. And this is where you need clarity. Because when he comes back, you will feel the pull to let him in again. You'll feel the temptation to see his return as redemption. But stop and ask, what do his actions tell me? Has he shown consistency? Has he proven respect? Has he earned another chance? If the answer is no, then his comeback isn't love. It's a test of your boundaries, and your response will say more about your worth than his return ever could. If you let him back in without standards, you teach him that silence is forgiven, absence is excused, and you will always be available. But if you respond with strength, you show that your worth doesn't rise and fall with his presence. You show that his return is irrelevant to your identity, because here's what matters. Your value isn't in being chosen. It's in choosing. Anyone can come back, but not everyone deserves access. Your worth shines brightest when you say no to what doesn't align with your standards. Now listen carefully. Your worth isn't in his regret. Your worth isn't in his apology. Your worth isn't in his timing. Your worth is in your essence, your values, your standards, your ability to walk away from what doesn't serve you. That's what makes you powerful. That's what makes you unforgettable. So the next time he shows up after silence, don't make it about him. Don't make it about what he wants, what he feels, what he's realized. Make it about you. Do I even want this energy back in my life? Does this match the future I'm building? Does this person respect me enough to be consistent? Because when you live by that clarity, you'll never again confuse a comeback with commitment. You'll never again treat a return like a prize, and you'll never again forget that you are already whole, already valuable, already enough whether he comes back or not. So write this into your heart. Your worth isn't proven by his comeback. His silence didn't erase you. His absence didn't diminish you. His return doesn't validate you. You were always worthy. You are still worthy. You will always be worthy. And the only comeback that matters is the one you make for yourself. The comeback to your own strength, your own clarity, your own power. When someone who hurt you, ghosted you, or played with your feelings suddenly reaches out, your first reaction is emotional. Maybe you feel anger. Maybe you feel excitement. Maybe you feel relief that he finally came back. Those emotions are natural, but they are also dangerous when they control your response. Because if you respond with emotion, you hand over your power. Anger makes you write long paragraphs he won't read. Hope makes you forgive too quickly. Loneliness makes you accept crumbs. Emotion blinds you to the truth, and suddenly you're reacting to him instead of acting for yourself. That's why the rule is simple. Don't respond with emotion. Respond with boundaries. Boundaries are calm. Boundaries are clear. Boundaries are powerful. A boundary says, this is who I am. This is what I accept. This is what I will never allow again. And the beauty of boundaries is this. They don't depend on how you feel in the moment. They are rooted in your standards, not your moods. Let's break it down. When he texts you after weeks of silence, your emotion might scream, finally, he still wants me. But your boundary says consistency matters more than comebacks. If you want access to me, you don't get to disappear without accountability. When he apologizes and says, I miss you, your emotion might whisper, this is what I've been waiting for. But your boundary says, missing me isn't enough. Words don't replace action. Respect and effort are the price of entry. When he tries to casually slide back into your life like nothing happened, your emotion might ache. At least he's back. But your boundary says, I'm not a revolving door. If you leave without explanation, you don't get to return without change. See the difference? Emotion reacts, boundaries respond. And the response you give with boundaries is short, firm, and unshakable. You don't have to explain yourself endlessly. You don't have to prove your point. You don't have to argue. A simple boundary holds more power than 10 emotional essays, because boundaries aren't about controlling him. They're about protecting you. Here's what boundaries do. They filter who gets access to you. They protect your peace. They remind you of your worth. They save you from repeating the same mistake twice. And here's the truth. The people who can't respect your boundaries will be the first to call you cold, difficult, or selfish. But that's not your problem. It's their exposure. A person who truly values you will respect your boundaries. A person who only values what you give them will be offended by them. So don't soften your boundary just to keep someone comfortable. Don't lower your standard just to keep someone around. And don't let your emotions talk you out of protecting yourself. Because emotion might get you instant relief, but boundaries get you lasting respect. Now, let's be real. Setting boundaries isn't easy. It requires discipline. It requires resisting the urge to react in the heat of the moment. That's why the pause is powerful. When you pause, you give yourself the space to let emotions settle before you choose your response. Ask yourself, what standard do I want to hold here? What behavior am I no longer willing to accept? What message do I want my response to send about who I am? Then respond with that. Calm, direct, clear. For example, instead of replying emotionally with, where were you? Why did you disappear? You can respond with a boundary. If you want to be in my life, I expect consistency. I don't accept silence followed by casual reappearances. Instead of replying with, I missed you too, you respond with a boundary. Missing me isn't enough. I need effort and reliability if this is going to work. Instead of replying with, I'm just glad you're back, you respond with a boundary. If you walk away without explanation, you don't get the privilege of walking back in without accountability. Simple, strong, boundary-based. Because here's the truth, your emotions are valid, but they don't have to run the show. Your boundaries are what protect you from letting those emotions drag you back into patterns you already promised yourself you'd never repeat. So remember this rule. Every time you're tested, don't let your emotions press send. Let your boundaries speak for you. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't to win him back. The goal isn't to prove your point. The goal is to protect your peace, honor your worth, and set a standard so strong that the wrong people fall away and the right people rise to meet it. And once you master that, you'll never again lose yourself in someone else's inconsistency. You'll never again confuse emotion with love. You'll never again trade your standards for temporary comfort. You'll stand tall, unshaken, and free because you chose to respond with boundaries, not emotion.